Okay. Hello, everyone. Greetings from the International Labor Organization's Cooperatives Unit, where we are celebrating our centenary this year. It's March 2020, and the world is grappling with the disruptions of the COVID-19 pandemic. So the interview series that we had started for Co-op Champions for this centenary are now switching to online format, virtual format, rather than face-to-face format. And today we are very grateful to have with us Sifa Chiyoge, who's the Regional Director of the International Cooperative Alliance Africa region. Hello, Sifa. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Yeah, hello, Simel, and thank you for the opportunity. And I wish you well as you celebrate the centenary of the ILO COOP units. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thanks a lot, Sifa. You have been a lifelong cooperator, and how did you get started with cooperatives?
Yes, I started, I came to know about cooperative when I was still at the university, as I was requested or required rather to do my internship, professional internship. And just by chance, the industry where I was accepted, it was in the cooperative movement. So I went to spend 3 months in credit union. That is the second tier of circles in the DRC and South Kivu. So that was my very first time to meet and hear about cooperatives, and I got clued up. Thank you.
And since then, you have worked in different capacities with the cooperative movement in the region. What have been some of the key developments, highlights from your career with cooperatives in Africa? What are some highlights, key trends, issues that you think are important for the region?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much, Simel. From that time to today, it was quite an interesting trajectory, because first, between the internship and where I am today, I went to do so many other things and worked with so many other different industries. I went and worked with the government. I worked with purely or profit-making companies or organizations. I also worked with the NGOs. I worked with academia. And but somehow I also again retraced my footstep back to the cooperative movement, as I went to work first at the university, and I was given some courses to do with cooperatives. So then it forced me to start researching back on the cooperative movement, and because I had then to teach the courses. So I did most research on cooperatives, and while I was still working at the university, I got a contract with the government of South Africa to come and capacitate cooperatives, especially in the area of capacity building. So that's how I left academia to go and work with the cooperative movement in South Africa, more specifically in KwaZulu-Natal. And from there again, I was again headhunted to go and work in Ethiopia with a government project again on cooperative development. I switched gear from capacity building of all the cooperatives and training and education to more focusing on agricultural cooperatives. So I was then appointed in Ethiopia as the director of agricultural cooperative with the ATA. From there, that is how myself and ICA Africa, we found each other. And here I am. I came back to Nairobi after leaving the academia in Nairobi. And I've been working for the cooperative movement in Africa for the last 7 years.
And what have been some of the key highlights in the cooperative movement in Africa during this time? In these different sectors where you worked, financial, agricultural, housing, what have been some of the key issues, concerns that face the cooperative movement in Africa?
Yeah, Sibel, I would like first to look at history so that we can understand the current challenges. And most of the cooperative enterprise, or rather the modern cooperative concept as we know it, and enterprise as we practice it currently, came to Africa during the colonial era. But that does not mean that the Africans never used to cooperate. In fact, our way back, our way of life was more cooperative, because we used to build our houses cooperatively. One person will go and build, like one who is in need will cook for the village, and all the villagers will come and put up the house for the person, and so on and so forth. So that's how it used to be. The same with agricultural cooperatives. Today we'll decide we go to your field, we'll help you, and tomorrow to be another member. And so that's how it used to be. And myself, I did it in the cities when I used to go to my mother's village. But as we talk to, as now we refer to the cooperative enterprise model as we know it today, and as defined by the ICA today, that one came through colonization, and the very first trace were reported rather in South Africa again, when we had, that should be towards the turn of 18th century, beginning of the 19th century. That is when we had the very first mode of cooperative as we know it on the African soil. But then after that, so many other came with the cooperative concept, depending on who was the colonizers. Definitely the English were more stronger and compared to the French or the Portuguese or the Germans on the African continent. But all of them brought the concept, and it was applied based on the colonial master. And that is why you can see in Africa, the English-speaking countries are a bit more advanced in terms of the cooperative concepts in Africa compared to the others. Why? Definitely because the cooperative movement, as we know it today, the birthplace also is England. So that, but we have also had in others like the French, the Germans, or also the Portuguese influence on the cooperative. So with that, most during now at the independence, because it was used as a tool for socioeconomic empowerment of their own populace, not the natives. So during, at independence, quite a number of African leaders then, so that it was indeed a very strong tool to be used to empower the populace or the masses. And that is how most of the African leaders did adopt the cooperative model. And it was now entrenched, most of them in their constitution, or they just carried forward from the colonial system. And unfortunately or fortunately, we had a disruption in cooperative development because there was already too much love from the African leaders with the cooperative movement, to the extent that in some countries, it was one and the same with the political party. So it was also misused in some instances for political gains or mileage. And we suffered from that, because then it had some negative connotation depending on which side of the political divide you are. And we had some setbacks, but also that is on the political front. But also economically speaking, we also had some other setbacks when we had the structural adjustment program of the 1990s. When the World Bank, the IMF, and others came and told the African countries that the government, they should pull out from private sector, and more so from the cooperative movement. There was no transitional plan for that. So the government retracted from the cooperative movement, and most of them then collapsed. we had quite a number of cooperative banks on the continent. We had quite a number of cooperative colleges. We had and institutions around the continent which collapsed then. Only few countries survived. And as we talk now, this one at least I could talk about the 200 plus. I mean, 20. That is after the 1990s. Now we are talking about the 20s,
2000s.
the millennium. That is when, that is when we had a new wave of cooperatives which came on board, not necessarily spearheaded or sponsored by the government, but rather from the masses or the communities. And we have some good cases of those ones. And even those who were supported by the government, because we have some few pockets governments which are still now supporting cooperative in terms of capacity building and others in their own countries, they did not use the mistake of the past to have too much relationship, but rather they came up to regulate, they came up to inspect, they came up maybe to educate in some instances, but not having that relationship where there was no clear line between the political party and the cooperative movement. So that is the new outlook of the cooperative movement. Now, looking at the past and also the political dynamics or the economic levels of each country, that's why you can see you cannot define the cooperative movement in Africa as wholesomely moving in one direction. It is country by country, blocks by blocks, depending on how that particular country or block is strong economically. And that's why we can still say the English-speaking countries are better placed in terms of cooperative development, where what they have achieved compared to the Francophone or the Lusophone or the other, the Maghrebians. Having said that, even within the English bloc, depending on how strong the country is, economically or politically, that's also has influenced on the cooperative development in that particular country. Thank you.
Thank you, Sifa, for this historical view. In this history, what has been the role of the ILO, the International Labour Organization, in your view or in your experience? How have you come across and collaborated maybe with the ILO? What has been the role of the ILO in your opinion?
Yeah, thank you, Simel. First, I would like to say that I came across or worked with ILO first when I was still in South Africa, like I said. And that was during the period ILO had a project on COP Africa. And reviewing MATCOM, which was the trainings. And I was requested to review the agricultural cooperative day materials, training materials. Funny enough, at that time I was still working for all the sectors, not only the agricultural. Not doing that, I'll go and focus on agricultural cooperative in Ethiopia. Anyway, so that was the first at a personal level. But as I came and moved, first in Ethiopia, by the way, and then in Kenya, we have worked quite closely with ILO, and I've interacted, especially now more so as the regional director for the ICA Africa. We have really worked quite closely with the ILO COOP units, not only on the issues touching legislation, but also capacity building and also current challenges affecting the COOP movement in Africa, and also the solutions to that. How this has happened, I will give some few examples. We have been working closely with the COOP units of the ILO in terms of the reference of making sure that as we have reviews of the cooperative legislation in Africa, remember I told you that most of them had the colonial legislation, and we have seen quite a number of revisions ever since. And during all that process, we have been making sure that the ILO recommendation 193 is reflected in the national legislation just as much as the cooperative identity values and principles as recommended by the ICA. So on that one, we have been working closely with ILO COOP units. That is under the legislation. But I think we have gone even beyond just the recommendation, but also making sure that we fast track and make sure that the country does not violate some of what us and ILO do believe in, like child labor, discrimination, and so many other issues. We have addressed those on the different occasions. Over and above the issue of legislation, we also look at the current issues or challenges affecting the cooperative movement and how to address them. One being education and training, because we have said that knowledge is still lacking in quite a number of instances in the cooperative movement. And the ILO COOP unit and the ICA Africa and also our friend in Japan, we have been having these annual trainings, which have been for the leadership of cooperative leaders in Africa, which has been of great value. And whenever I talk to governments or our members, they are very appreciative of that particular program because they have seen change emanating from the said training. Beside the training program, which we have been having, it's almost on a yearly basis, we are also talking about other project or program. Very recently, we did also notice that our cooperatives, there is little south-south cooperations among cooperatives, and yet it's the principle, the cooperative principles that we have, there should be cooperation among cooperatives, and more so little trade or intra-trade within Africa. So ILO and ICA Africa also thought that they should play a bigger role in the same, and ILO did commission a research, which indeed the ministers in charge of cooperatives welcomed very wholesomely and gave full support to the study, recommendations, and even currently we are moving forward with that particular. And that was thanks to the vision that the ILO COOP units, together with ourselves and also other friends, thought about. So basically, that one came to, we are using that particular rapid assessment as a baseline on which we are basing now even projects moving forward. We are starting with the SADC, but we'll also be moving to other countries. And that is great because of the partnership that we have had with the ILO. And in most of our meetings, because first at global level, we work with ILO in the COPAC, but also at the regional level, we have had ILO coming to give expert views or presentations and the like. They are also been inviting us to some of their meetings. So there is that sharing of knowledge and information, and we enjoy a very good relationship, working relationship, and amicable relationship with the team, and that has been something which has helped smoothen and face the challenges quite gracefully.
Thank you for that vote of confidence, Sifa. It's definitely mutual, and we enjoy greatly collaborating and moving forward on pressing issues, as you mentioned. The world of work is changing. We are in the midst of a crisis now, a global public health pandemic, but also with strong economic, social implications. And there is also climate change, technology, demographic change. Things are changing in the world of work. And how do you think this will affect the cooperative movement and cooperatives in the region in Africa? How will they adapt or revamp? Will there be new sectors that they go into? What do you think is the future looking like for cooperatives?
Yeah, I know, Simel, you not believe it, but this COVID-19 has presented itself as a great opportunity for the African continent in so many arenas or sectors. As much as it's a challenge, and definitely the impacts will be in terms of mortality and economic impacts. Those for me are the immediate short-term implications. But from this particular crisis, Africa is being given an opportunity to raise to the occasion and do the soul searching and redirect its energy and priorities to how they can now finally move and develop. This is the golden opportunity. Nobody saw it coming this far and fast. It has happened overnight. Everything has been disrupted. And as we speak in Africa, because that's where I am, definitely we are being hit hard because of the poor infrastructure. And look at physical, financial, everything. Agricultural infrastructure, we are the worst hit because we cannot maintain the lockdown for long, because not only our populace will die of the virus, but also they can as well die of hunger. We are not self-sustainable. And this is a calling for us now to go back to the drawing boards and play the key role of national sustainability, continental sustainability in the face of the new challenges like this one. So now, as much as we have to depend on other continents, but the bare minimum which each country, each continent has to make sure that it's reaching before it can depend on the other. And this coronavirus, has given us the opportunity to self-assess ourselves in this manner. So what I'm actually seeing now happening, the cooperative movement has been given the greatest opportunity of its time. Because first we are talking about mass mobilization, mass solution. And we have seen that indeed, working with our government partners and the like, and the populace or the community self or reorganizing itself, will be able then to achieve what I'm talking about, the national sustainability or the continental sustainability. So for us, be it the agricultural cooperatives, where we are talking about making sure at least we have in our national reserves, we have got we are able to feed ourselves. Talking about then our agricultural cooperative will have to play a greater role there. Talking about the health cooperatives, now we have seen more than ever, we don't just need big hospitals in New York, we also need them in Nairobi, we need them in Kirinyaga, we need them in the smallest village. Because now, as we can see, everybody has to have that basic bare minimum sustainability on all the sectors. So the cooperative movement, especially the health, then have got a bigger opportunity given by this coronavirus challenge. Talking about the housing, we have seen how challenged we are because we have been told to confine ourselves. Where are you confining? How illnesses? We have got the biggest issues of slums in Africa. So as much as we tell people to confine, are we talking about the elite only to confine, or are we talking about the mass? And do they have access to the other utilities like water, electricity, security, and all those infrastructure? So this is now the calling and the opportunity for us now to talk about COP housing, community or social housing. Talking about access to finance, we have seen now that you have to have that money to spend on it in the first place. And also, how do money circulate? And the ease of doing business in terms of transactions, you need the IT infrastructure to support that. We have been told we should not use hard currency because it's a carrier. But how is it feasible where we don't have where we don't have the IT infrastructure, or we don't have the financial infrastructure? So all those things have been put to test in Africa. Talk about, just name it, any type of, even the service cooperatives, moving food from one point A to point B. We need reliable and well-equipped and informed and traceable service providers. This is where now our service cooperative can play a role. We have talked about our informal workers, most of them. We don't want this to repeat again. So next time we have a challenge, before it arrives, we should have already resolved the issue of informal economy. Because now they are the most hard hit. Because if they don't work, they don't get that food on their table. If they don't work, they don't have anything. And that is why some of them have said we cannot lock down ourselves, because even hunger will finish us. So you can see these are the challenges. These are golden opportunity for us now to talk about formalization of the informal economy. And there's so many opportunity given by this. So it has been a good time to reflect on personal note in terms of our existence, what really matters in life, but also at work level, what can we do more? And I think as ICA Africa and also our members, we have seen that there is now tremendous opportunity as we come out of this particular crisis to even do more and better. And our governments, I think, who are the facilitators in terms of legislation and giving the conducive environment, are also equally affected. And we hope that will now work and make sure that the Agenda 2063, which we have been all working toward, we shall spearhead. And now we'll try to now even shorten the time to make sure that that ideal is achieved before 2063.
Thank you, Sifa, for a hopeful note on this current situation, which feels and seems bleak, but you are saying it will catapult us forward to do things differently. And so we appreciate your time and your thoughts, sharing your thoughts with us. We hope you continue to stay safe and well, and see you soon. Take care.
Yeah, thank you very much, Simel. It has been a pleasure talking to you as always, and thank you for the ILO COOP units for being good partners. Thank you. Bye. Ciao.
Thanks to ICA Africa. Bye-bye.